Hi all, welcome to BRR Knowledge Center and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining everyone. And this today's session will talk about KeyCloak. What is this KeyCloak and how we are going to use this KeyCloak for our API services. So KeyCloak is an open source identity and access management service for modern applications and services. That means if you want to add an authentication to your application, or if you want to make it secure, no kind of development to your services with the minimum fuss, so we must look at the clock. So no need to deal with the storing users or authentication users stuff in your database or somewhere in the physical file. It's all available out of the box. So what you need to do is you need to install this key clock in your local machine or somewhere your application is running, and you just map through this and make sure that it is on and running, and then it is going to store and maintain everything of your application security and authentication stuff. So you all even get advanced features such as user federations and identity brokering and social logins like Google and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, etc. So let me tell you some features of this key clock. KeyCloak basically provides single sign-on and single sign-out, and the standard protocols it using OAuth 2.0 and OpenID connectivity 1.0 and SAML 2.0. It's flexible authentication and authorization, and it has multi-factor authentication or one-time passwords and social logins, like as I said, no user logins, Google and Facebook and Twitter. And it provides centralized user management for all your services, which you're going to configure in KeyCloak, and supports directory services like Active Directory and LDAP, so where you can import or export all existing users into your KeyCloak directory. And also we have a customizable entries here where you can customize the logins based on your company logo or company pictures, and you can extensible this KeyCloak login, and it is very easy for setup and configuration. Okay, so to work with this KeyCloak, so I'll look at this uh, concepts before we install it. So basically this KeyCloak having these many concepts here, and the first one is realme. This is where the main concept here. A KeyCloak realme is like a namespace that allows you to manage so all of your metadata and configurations here. If you look at here, realme master, this is what the default realme is coming up when you install KeyCloak into your system, which will basically having clients and roles and security defenses, and and this user federations and roles and groups and events and users and identity provider and UIs are part of KeyCloak. But the first big topic here was realme, where it is a container, we can call it as, where it contains all the roles and clients and users. So generally it is recommended to avoid using the master realme, which is for administration purposes only, and suggest to create your own realme and maintain all your configurations as part of your security and authorization. So you can configure all your clients here in these clients, and I think I'll show you like once we install it and run this KeyCloak in your local machine. So clients we can configure it here per application, and configuration management also you have, and custom themes also you can have it as part of application or the client, and events you can raise events based on the callback response and succeeded of authorization authentication. And the providers as mentioned, so we have different providers, so where you can have no OpenID connectivity and SAML and OAuth 2.0, and we have security defenses and roles, etc, etc. So let's get into this and see like how we are going to install it. So basically we need to download this from KeyCloak organization. So I think this is where the main website is. So we can get here from this website where we can get this download. The latest version was 19, it seems. So you just download this particular zip file or tar, so where you will get this stuff into your local downloaded folder, and then you just unzip it and look at the folder structure once you unzip it. So right now I think I got I think a KeyCloak, is 13 versions where I can go and see here. I think this thing. So this is where I have my KeyCloak folder. Once you download zip file and unzip, so you will see these files here. Like see you. So you have bin and configuration data, lib and providers, themes, and temporary folders and version text and readme text and license text for the files. You will initially having it in the unzip folder. And if you go inside of bin, so you will have commands to start this KeyCloak. So you will have a kc bat, kcsh, and kc admin bat, kc admin shell, and kc registration bat, and kc registration shell file. But only looking at this kc bat right now to start your KeyCloak. So this KeyCloak batch file basically having two ways of running it. So to start your KeyCloak server here, that is, if you wanted to run your KeyCloak, so in the development for the development purpose, you just say that kc.bat start dot so that it will start in the development mode. That means it accessible only HTTP, that is on 8080 port, and but it's not recommendable for your production live server deployment. So you must specify certifications and enable HTTPS, and that is the case. You just remove this and just run normal kc.bat so that it will run in a secure mode. Suppose if you run this start.dev, then it is going to start your KeyCloak server. So take a couple of seconds here, and then it start, and it is going to run on this particular port number, this particular 8080 port number. So profile dev activated and installed features was, these are the features installed. And if you go and see here, like, so localhost, and if you run this, it is going to start your KeyCloak mission, where you will get a login screen, and then you start logging into this and see all the stuff of whatever I have shown you in the screen here, like readme and user and roles and groups and events, and then you start using it off this. So once you on this, once you run your server, then it is going to display the UI as this way. And right now I'm just showing an HTTPS configuration 8445. And so we'll look at this and running of this KeyCloak server in the next session. And here the core concepts are Realme settings, where this is the default master. And in this Realme, I think Realme or settings, we have clients and client scopes and roles and identity providers and user federation authentication. And these are the managed things where you can create your users and sessions and events, and also import and export of any users which basically wanted to be a part of KeyCloak. So this is what the UI of KeyCloak once you run your KeyCloak server. And the same KeyCloak server you can run through a Docker image also, so where you can have like HTTPS and HTTP configurations. So why should we use a KeyCloak? Basically, that's what the question everyone is having it. So let's look at this, like why we need a KeyCloak aside from this amount of management you can accomplish with a single view. So basically, KeyCloak is a reliable solution which got designed following standards security protocols to provide a dynamic single sign-on, and it runs on different products, so which includes single sign-on and other features, as I told you, like OpenID connectivity and OAuth2 protocol supports, and user information and token information being manageable in the KeyCloak. So KeyCloak supports standard protocols, since we can make sure we can believe that it is more reliable because it supports OAuth 2.0 and OpenID connectivity and SAML. So the support means that any tool or application that supports integration with the above protocols, so can be easily plugged into the KeyCloak, and then you can integrate this using of this KeyCloak very easily. So only thing we need to decide was, whether we are looking for authentication or authorization. It all depends on your application requirement. If you're looking for only authorization, like authentication, OAuth 2 is not at all relevant. So OAuth only using it for authorization. OpenID connectivity, OpenID protocol, we have to choose it. So that is having identity and authentication and also authorization. So OAuth only supports authorization. So basically what I'm trying to say is, based on the requirement of your application or service, you choose your integration part with the KeyCloak, whether it is OAuth or OpenID connectivity. Okay, so basically, as I mentioned, so it has different options here to manage your security related stuff. So where you can keep all the users and token information. So it's a centrally governing key called a realme here. It's a container contains several things like, as I mentioned, users and clients and roles and security defenses. So basically, it's a Java-based application and authorization server. So that's all about, KeyCloak. I'm trying to explain it. So once you integrate this KeyCloak into your application, this is what the architecture looks like. So if you are integrating from an SDK, Android or iOS, so this way, and this is from JavaScript files, and that if you're looking or calling from a JavaScript, and if you're calling from our backend apps like server side, like Java, Python, or Node.js, or Ruby, or C Sharp, so all these areas can be basically connected to your KeyCloak adapter here, where you're going to decide on the protocol like OAuth 2 or OpenID connectivity, and that is getting activated, and that will carry or takes you to the KeyCloak server here. And this KeyCloak server basically looks for this token which you are passing from these apps. Okay, and it will validate the existing OpenID connecting server, and if it is valid, it will redirect to that particular client ID resource endpoint here, and that way it is sending a response back to your client. So this is how it looks like overall architecture of KeyCloak integration into your any application. It's a client side or server side or SDK stuff and from different applications. So we'll see next part like how to run this. So and how to create it in a Realme and how to create users, and then how to configure HTTPS to deploy in the production or live servers. So thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.